Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Purple Nuna Podcast, a quick
Woo!
chat. So today we're going to be doing some quick reviews. We apologize for the delays. Some, life happens. I forgot how, we've been trying to do this review on
Like a
yesterday,
week,
today, tomorrow. I think for 2 weeks now at this
probably,
point.
probably.
Because I know you posted, you were like, yeah, guys, we're gonna record, we're gonna have this episode by Sunday, and then I was like,
You're right.
ooh,
It's probably been 2 weeks.
yeah,
Genuinely, it's probably been
yeah.
2 weeks.
I was having issues at one point even viewing the video because I was going through a Blu-ray DVD crisis where I look, guys, I'm fake. I don't have the full setup and everything like that. Like when it comes to movies and stuff, like I'm not buying 4K. I'm not buying Blu-ray all the time.
No.
I have a little all-region DVD player and it is the most garbage quality, right? But look, I got it and I asked for it for Christmas last year because I was like, how am I going to watch Regret? I need to watch Regret. There's no US regional DVDs of Regret or The Woman Next Door,
If they ever release,
which I still don't own on DVD yet.
we
But
have to make a formal complaint to the Criterion. We have to. It's been on
Mr.
their channel really long. Mr. Criterion.
Mr. Criterion, please. The Woman Next Door, you guys have it on your channel. And I know you guys be owning the rights to it or something because it's been on your channel for like 3 years now. I'm gonna need you to start printing it on a DVD, even if it's not a Criterion
Please.
bundle. Just put it on a DVD so I don't have to buy like a $90 copy from overseas and then pay an additional $20 of shipping from
Please.
Latvia just to be able to get a DVD that I want. And like, I'm telling you, that's the only option. That or it's like I get some bootlegged version and I'm trying to be pure. I'm trying to be a
Oh
purist. I'm
yeah.
not trying to be bad, I'm trying to get the legit DVD. And yeah, like it's crazy how that's like the one DVD I want. But anyways, so crap DVD player, but I need it because it plays all the regions, right? I love how I'm like, I need it. I have one DVD that's out of the region. One DVD, but I know it'll be for the Woman Next Door.
Yeah.
So
That's what we're holding out for.
I have a Blu-ray player, and essentially I don't know how, but I lost the remote. And let me tell you, there's no other remote replacement. I gotta scrap the whole thing. There's no app because it's an older thing that I can download and connect because I've tried every one of them. It's an
Dude.
LG Blu-ray player, and I've heard many bad things about LG Blu-ray player, but I bought it a while ago, like probably 6 years ago or so. And you want to know when I lost it? I lost it when we did our oh my God, it was my birthday during COVID when we brought out the TV. I haven't
Oh,
had the
Danger
Blu-ray.
5.
Yes, my Danger 5 birthday. I haven't had the Blu-ray remote since. So I was
Dude,
like,
that's like
okay,
2 years ago.
I know. And I keep trying to think because I got that Blu-ray player for like $50. Can you get a Blu-ray player for $50 these days? No. And I checked
Yeah.
for Black Friday and everything, and I couldn't get one for 50
No, they're like
bucks.
$200 now. That's why I won't
Yeah.
let go of mine. Is
And
super
they're
old.
like,
I will not
oh,
let go of it.
oh yeah, it's just Blu-ray. I'm like, if I'm gonna pay 140 or something like that, I want all
Yeah.
region, bells and whistles. Give me 4K. A 4K Blu-ray. Whoever is buying 4K, you're insane to be paying the price. You know how much a 4K Blu-ray player
I
is?
haven't even looked it up.
It's $800. Black Friday sale. Like, and maybe that could just, I saw one, then it was like the top rated 4K player on Black Friday sale, and it was $800 on sale.
Dude, I don't like it's so funny because when people bring up the fact that we collect physical copies, they're just like, oh, that's so obsolete. Meanwhile, they're selling these things for like
I'm
hundreds
going
of
to
dollars.
Redbox. I'm getting little discs and stuff for $3. I'm getting the new stuff for
There's
three
no way.
bucks.
There's no way. Yeah.
It's just so then I was using my parents' Blu-ray player for a while, but it's been a while since I've used because we live in the age of streaming, right? And
Yeah.
even with Criterion streaming, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I do have it on DVD, but I'm in this little weird debacle with Blu-ray players, but I could just easily access it here. So now it comes for me to watch something that isn't available and that it isn't available without having to buy or rent on, like Amazon Prime or something like that. And you gave me the DVD. So I was like, okay, I put it in the all region player. Ass quality. It was so bad. I was like, this looks worse than probably how it originally premiered. Like, this looks awful. Okay. So I was like, okay, let me try getting the Blu-ray player, because even though it's not a Blu-ray disc, it's going to be like a higher quality. So I get the Blu-ray player, I set it up, and I spend all my time and everything. And I look at the back of the remote, and the back of the remote is leaking. I'm like, why is this leaking? I open it up, battery acid is falling out. So I have to put on the gloves, go in with a Q-tip, and be like the scene from Toy Story when the guy's meticulously bringing Woody back, to his original form. That's what I was doing with this remote, only to then put in batteries, fresh batteries. I have rechargeable batteries because I'm a gamer. Okay. I put in the batteries into this thing. The coils were messed up. Wouldn't turn on. And guess what? Guess what this Blu-ray player doesn't have? Buttons on the thing for me to tap and pause and play and
that
select
sucks.
subtitles.
You always get a Blu-ray player with a button. You have to.
Yeah.
There's
and
no
so
way.
That's why my old Blu-ray player, 2 buttons, on and off, tray open, close. I'm not going to get far with that. Second Blu-ray player, play button, no pause. No up and down menu key, nothing. So I'm like, okay, finally here. I go watch yesterday, today, tomorrow. No subtitles. I have no way to input subtitles.
Oh my God.
So I then just put it in my all region janky Blu-ray player. I was able to put some little modes and coloring on it. So that way I can even read the text, because even the subtitles were such poor quality. So I was able to make it decent, right? So it's just it's a thing, and I was so happy because I'm like, hey, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I'm gonna find something good, right? Absolutely not. I'm not paying like $100 for something that's like Blu-ray only.
I'm
not
so
doing
sorry
that.
You didn't get the full experience of the movie. I really apologize.
It was devastating. It was heartbreaking, and I just look, and I know someone's gonna be like, you do realize you could have just rented it for $2 on Amazon Prime.
That's not the principle. That's not the principle.
Not the point. I had the DVD and I had
we had
players,
a free version.
Multiple players involved here. I couldn't just buy it for $2. So it was very upsetting. It was very upsetting. And that's also what stalled me from watching it, because after I couldn't find the one remote, I was like, I'm not watching this movie. Get out of my face. Then the remote wasn't working. The next day, I'm like, I'm not watching this movie today. I'm pissed. I'm not touching any players today, any Blu-ray players. So it was just one of those things where one after the other, I was just getting so frustrated that I was like, screw this movie. I've seen it before. I saw it like 10 years ago. I'll just go paint my memory. And finally, I just stuck it in the regular all region DVD player, and I was able to, watch a decent quality of it. But it was rough. You
have to watch it again for a better experience.
But people might just be like, just buy the 150 Blu-ray player. Everyone's buying. But if I have Netflix, if I have Criterion Channel, which is bleeding me dry every month, and I only use it to watch one movie, it's just a lot. It's a lot. So it's a lot to deal with. And if anyone knows where I can get a really good deal, look, this is what I don't want multiple things too. Okay, I want a DVD all region Blu-ray player. And I don't want to pay more than $100 for it, because if anyone's trying to convince me to pay more than $100, you're stupid. Because there was a day when Blu-ray players used to just be like $50.
5 years ago, when you told me to buy one, I got it for $50 at Walmart. What's going on? I thought this was supposed to be,
and they're like, we're selling it for as much as we can, guys. $105. No, I know what it was back then. It's insane. It's insane.
Inflation, like I said, am I right?
The 4K, because I was even like, all of you nerds who are eligible to buy 4K Criterions, you're ruining the economy. Because if it wasn't for you guys just going, yeah, we'll take in 4K, which, by the way, people are like, oh, it's a 4K Blu-ray. 4K's been around for 10 years.
We're
on to 12K recording now. let's keep upgrading. Let's not go and let them stifle us still at 4K when we can go to 8 or 12K now. Cameras record at that level. Let's start getting advanced there, because you're gonna be dumb looking 10 years from now with a 4K player when we're on 24K. Like, it's so crazy. And look, you're all cogs in a vicious cycle. It's not you. Okay, I'm gripping on this microphone really intensely. But you're all cogs in a vicious cycle of just new. And it's hurting.
It's hurting the people that need it, like us.
It's hurting me. But let's just see. 4K Blu-ray player. Any movies you've seen lately, Savannah?
You know, I actually track a lot of the movies I watch on an app called Likewise.
Oh, you're not a Letterboxd person?
I try to do both, but I like the aesthetic of Likewise a little bit more. I'll show you, because it's kind of like you get a little picture. I don't know if you can see.
It's very bright, but I see West Side Story.
Okay. So like this is the format of it, and I could just input it. Like, I like it a lot better.
Oh, cool.
Let me see what I've watched recently. Oh, okay.
I found a Blu-ray player for $75.
You better favorite it.
But it's like with built-in Wi-Fi. I don't need that.
That's why they're charging you more.
Just give me the bare
That's where that
bones.
extra $20 is. They're sneaking things we don't need. They're sneaking it in.
But by the way, I was wrong. 4K players are like 200. The one that I was looking at was like a beast. It was like the ultimate 4K, like holds like 6 DVDs. That's
still too much.
Crazy.
$200 is still too much, in my opinion. But you know, let's leave that there.
Okay,
I did see The Glass Onion.
How? Doesn't that come out in December?
No, they released it in theaters for a week before the Netflix release, so you can go see it in theaters.
Why did I think it was coming out on Christmas?
It is.
Oh.
On Netflix.
Oh.
But Netflix decided to allow them to show it in movies for a week on Thanksgiving.
Oscar nom reasons.
Which I like, and I hope they do more, because I like the experience of seeing it in theaters. Really like the movie, not better than the first one. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Not better than the first one, but it's still a decent watch. I enjoyed the film. I won't get into spoilers. But
Very nice. My boyfriend and I created a list of like things, because we watch so much. Let me correct. I watch so much YouTube that I force him to watch so much YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me what I'm watching in a given day, I'll be like Catfish, compilations, Smosh.
Yeah.
You know, I'm watching whatever, Good Mythical Morning and stuff. Which, no hate to those, but I've been real knee deep in just the YouTube nonstop. Yeah. I need a break. I need my palate to be refined, right?
Culture.
Exactly. So we decided to start making a list of like movies that we had heard that we said that we were going to watch, but we never did. So we made a list. So it's like a movie, like it's like a list of 70 something movies. And so we went through 3 of them, 2 or 3. I think it was 2 so far. The first one being, because as soon as I saw it available on Netflix, I was like, we're not looking at anything else on the list. We're watching this today. And that was Triple R. And that is,
I've been wanting to see it.
I saw it 3 times within 2 days. It was because I told my parents, I'm like, you guys got to watch it. Like, it's so good. And they were watching it. Then my grandma, she goes into, she's staying with us right now. She goes into the room and she starts watching it. And I start watching it with her. So I watched it 3 times, and it is an awesome movie. It deserves every hype, every praise that it got. It's just overall, like, just a fun movie. Probably one of the most fun movies I've seen in a while. I think it's like one of those things where, for me, this is probably like, this is like, when I look at this, I'm like, oh, this is probably how like Marvel fans and DC fans feel when they watch like their movies, right? I was never like a person, like maybe during the last film, maybe I cried, but like for all the other ones, it was never like or anything like that, you know? So now I watched Triple R, and that was like that type of level because it had everything. Well, I will say too, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a Scorsese or Tarantino over here right now, but this movie does not hold a candle to Marvel films because these 2 actors are just insane. First of all, buff. Second,
Yeah.
they are doing crazy stunts. It took over 300 days of filming to make this movie, with like 75 of those days just doing action shots and everything. So you have romance. The two main leads sing, and they're both professional dancers on top of fighting each other and doing all, like, it's insane. It is West Side Story meets Moulin Rouge meets John Wick, and it is insane. And I told Savannah, I'm like, you have to put it, like, this is going to be the movie that we watch during a movie night and stuff.
Yeah.
It is 3 hours. It is a lot. It should have, there is literally like a little point where you could pause in the middle and consider it an intermission. But it is so good and so worth the watch. It's just the funnest, probably besides Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah.
Probably the funnest movie I've seen this year. I would say I personally still like the craziness of Triangle of Sadness a
Yes.
little bit more, but this one I feel like everyone else is going to like Triple R a lot more.
No, people really sleep on Bollywood movies.
Sleeping.
I love Bollywood.
Sleeping. And it was so, like, it was great. What other movies have you seen that's on your list?
I did see The Menu early. We're gonna see
Okay.
it again, you and me, and everybody else, but I did see it early. It is my
Okay.
favorite. It's my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, what was your favorite film of the year before?
Probably because I made a list. I made a list of my favorite. It was a tie between Everything Everywhere All at Once and The Black Phone, because I really like The Black Phone.
Oh, The Black Phone was great. Black Phone was great.
I think that for me, this surpasses it. It's on the level of Triangle of Sadness for me.
Oh, I love that. I love
So
that.
I think you're really gonna like it.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna
It
say
gives
too much because
me,
we are
oh my-
gonna see it.
You know what it
And we are
reminds
gonna
me of?
review it.
It's giving me like Pig meets what is it? The greatest it was that old short story about like a man hunting the greatest sport, the greatest game, or something like that, where it was about a man on an island who used to hunt other people like for sport. That's kind of what it's reminding me of, like just from the trailers and everything like that.
It's so good because I'll say this, you think it's going one way and you think it's because of certain reasons, but it's actually going to go a completely other way and it's for completely different reasons. So that's what I
Gotcha.
liked about it. The theater experience was so fun for me and I'm really excited for you guys to see it. I know we're going to talk about it on here at some point, so I won't say anything more, but it's my
Okay.
favorite movie and people, please go see this. Go spend your money and see this movie. It's really good.
I've heard that, and what is it? Tare are
I
like,
haven't seen Tar yet.
I've heard a lot of good things about those two, like just on the rounds of Twitter and things
You
like
know,
that.
I love Kate Blanchett. She's my
I
favorite.
know.
You know, I love her.
I know. So I'm definitely hyped to see The Menu and everything. The next movie that we saw is one of those, it very much was like a Tusk moment for me. And you saw the movie, so you know what I mean by that. I'm talking about Sorry to Bother You. So that is
Oh my God.
and we had no idea. And
You
I'm not
don't.
gonna spoil it
No.
because Sorry to Bother You is one of those movies where it's a really great film, but when it really starts taking a turn, it doesn't just take a turn, it flips it inside out, launches it into another
it's a
galaxy.
different movie.
It's insane. So definitely really well done. I really love, so one thing about Sorry to Bother You that's kind of like not a part of that crazy spoiler thing is the fact that what essentially leads these telemarketers and everything to advance to like the big wigs is if they start doing like a white voice, especially like those who are non-white in this workspace.
Yeah.
And it is so funny because they'll just like go into it and it'll be like, it was so funny that the fact that the main actor, all of a sudden his white voice was Tobias from Arrested Development. And I thought that was really great and stuff. But
Yes.
really, I think it has a lot of great, commentary on how workplaces view their employees, as well as in terms of like, not only workplaces view their employees, but how a Black employee will be viewed differently from like a totally weird, unique angle too.
Mhm.
And like just showing like how different that, you know, how different everything is viewed and stuff. And obviously, look, I'm not stupid. I obviously know in real life that there are differences, that there are different, you know, treatments and everything like that when it comes to that. But it was really unique seeing that played out artistically within a film. Like just so Savannah, without spoiling it, like the art exhibit was one.
Yeah.
And then also just, you know, funnily enough, I think it's also really great that the fact that the main villain is Army Hammer in all of this. And it's
Oh, well,
and
didn't
it's
age well.
and with it's kind of funny in hindsight what's happened with him and everything like that and the role that he's playing. But really good commentary on a lot of different issues and overall like a really well done movie. Crazy,
Yeah.
but well done. Anything else on your list?
Agree. I think that's all I've seen this past at least 2 weeks-ish.
Well, the other thing that we are going to talk about is Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. So this is something that I believe we both saw before we ever watched it for reviewing purposes.
Yes.
So did you first watch Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow?
I was a teenager. So
Okay, same here.
probably high school, 15, I want to say.
Okay.
10 years ago.
Okay. Probably when you were first starting to really get into the Sophia Loren, you know,
Yes.
filmography and everything like that.
Yes.
And so now from watching it as a teenager to now watching it as an adult, has your opinion on the movie changed?
No, because I've seen the movie. I probably rewatch it like once a year.
Oh, okay, cool.
So like I've had a consistent view on it. Like I've noticed things as
You
I've
have
gotten
2 copies
older.
of the DVDs, so it's
I
very
do have
apparent.
2 copies of the DVD. I've noticed things and I have an appreciation for what they were trying to do, and I have appreciation more for Sophia Loren and her acting skills.
Mhm.
So no, as I've gotten older, like still love the movie, just notice more things.
Yeah, I
What
think
about you?
for me, because I saw it once when I was in high school, and then this is probably like my second time actually watching it through and through.
Yeah.
And I would say I like it even more than what I did with high
Yeah.
school because I think there was so much more I was able to appreciate and pick up that maybe might have been lost in translation when I first watched it. And I always liked it when I was in high school, right? But I really thought like this time around I was like, oh wow, like this is really funny, like especially the last segment. So Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow is broken up into 3 different like short stories, and the way that it's described is like women and then the men that they attract in their lives. And so you have Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni playing 3 sets of characters within each. I will say the second story is a little bit the weakest, but
no, it is the weakest.
but I will
Between
say
the two.
I do like the commentary and everything like that still about it, and how she's like, I don't care about money. It's fine. This coat, I don't care. And then the minute things start going wrong, she's
They're
like, get away. This coat is $1,000. He only drives a Fiat 300. He
And I
doesn't know
always
how to
thought-
drive a Rolls Royce, you know?
I always thought it was smart that they put it in the middle because I'm sure at some point somebody might have recognized like between the two really strong stories, it was the lesser value. Not value, but a lesser story.
Let's talk about the first story first.
Yes.
So I forgot the name of the characters. I know the second one is
I think it's like
Anna.
Adelina was the first one.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so with the first one, it's essentially about Sophia Loren's character in the first story. She is arrested for selling contraband and specifically cigarettes, which is I thought was very weird because everyone on that block was selling cigarettes and going like cigaretto Swiss, Americano, Italiano.
I guess it's just like who got caught.
Yeah.
Like it's just like that day. Like
so, but the thing is,
you.
there's a major loophole into her going into prison. It's because she's pregnant, and so
Isn't
they
that
won't
insane?
send pregnant women to, you know, jail. I don't know how true that is. I tried finding out a little bit of research on it. I do think it was like a thing that was not necessarily like a code, but like police officers would.
It might have been like frowned upon too, I assume. Like they would catch a lot of like flack for it, but I don't know if it was an actual law or not at some point.
It was Adelina. So the first segment is Adelina.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was just really interesting. And so then she puts her husband through the ringer and is like, hey, we got to keep having kids so I never have to serve a sentence. And it gets to the point where this man is putting in so much work that he ends up anemic.
Beat up.
He looks beat up. He says it. They're like, you're anemic. You need rest for 3 months and then you'll be good to go. You'll have another kid within a year. And I thought it was funny how, she goes to jail and he recovers. And now he's like, yes, I get to go back to this lifestyle. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to be like this ravenous husband, if you will. And when she gets out, she's pardoned. So she doesn't have to think about returning or going back on her sentence or anything. So immediately she's like, ill. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
they also
no.
have like 100 kids. So
7.
like, yeah, like a lot of kids already.
Let's talk for a second. You're telling me they were all in one room and they were producing 5 other kids.
No, they're kicking the kids out. 100%. They're kicking the kids out immediately. And then they're like, oh, you come back in now. Yeah.
But it was one big rickety bed and then several small the bunk beds were like this. Okay.
Did he not have a job? Like, I didn't remember because they were living like not well.
I don't think he had a job. I think he was fired.
Yeah, that's something happened because I'm like, this guy needs to go to work. He's got like 8 kids. What's going on?
He was just always around. He was just there. And then she almost cheats on her husband because her husband is anemic and, can't, which is, by the way, for the anemic community, that's not how that works.
That's not good representation. We don't like that. We don't appreciate it.
Day in, day out. This is not how it goes. But yeah, so it was a really funny story, but I just liked how he was like, I'm here, I'm ready. And she was like, no, I'm pardoned. Like, we don't have to keep doing this anymore. And he was just beyond devastated, right? Now, the second story is more so about like her being like a rich, like governor's wife type of character, being like, oh yes, I want to throw this lifestyle away. And of course things go wrong. And she's like, absolutely not. I love being rich. I love like that type of lifestyle. Right. So it definitely was the weaker. Very good acting still in the second portion, but nothing like the third. Nothing like the third.
Yeah. I think that like the overwhelming theme of the movie was supposed to be about class. But I do think they were really able to stretch it out and make it more about like the female story, like how girls were treated in Italy and the things they had to go through and religion. And I've always said that I think Italians in general have a very good knack at making really serious situations funny. So all of these stories have like really dark, like, oh, a woman has to get pregnant to avoid going to jail, and affair, and like, oh, a prostitute, like, talking to
a prostitute turns a priest.
In
the middle of there's this Mr. I don't know what the subtitles were for you, but for me, they kept calling him Mr. Bolognese. And they kept calling him Mr. Bolognese. The subtitles on my copy were whack. Like, there was a scene where when she's in the prison of the first story, they were like, this is big tits and she's in here for slapping a cop. It was the best. It was the best.
I don't think his name was, I don't
know if maybe
I definitely know it was in Bolognese.
No, they were like, this is Mr. Bolognese. They were like, he's from Bologna. This is Mr. Bolognese. But also, what I really want to know now is if the dialogue when Marcello Mastroianni is definitely very just overall horny in the third, how his flirtations and everything like that differ from, your DVD to the version of the copy you sent to me, because I was dying at the subtitles that were there for him. Like, did you... Like, there was one part where the subtitle literally just said, like, here, I bought you a little girl outfit and I'll be the uncle who's punishing you and stuff. Like, it went into that type of level. It was so funny.
Oh
did you get that? Because you might have watched this version.
Well, I've seen so that was the first copy I've ever had of it. So I must have seen it. But now I usually watch, because I bought like a set of her films. I watched that one.
Gotcha. The subtitles on that one are hilarious. Like, so good. And overall, it's just a very funny movie, right? Like, that last section of it is so funny. The idea that you have this prostitute who has this suitor who's like obsessed with her to the point where he's like, I want to marry you, I want to do this, I want to do all these things with you.
Really,
and something else, but he's really good at playing that role without going into like a creepiness, I guess you could say.
No, and he has this desperation about him, and I think that's what makes it funny, and I think that's what they were going for. They're like, you are just desperate at this point. Don't be
Yes.
like aggressive or creepy, because I didn't get that from him. But at some point, he like bangs his head against the wall and like cries, and it's the best scene of the movie. But yeah,
But then on
Italians have a
top
really
of
good.
everything, he's like, it's almost like, and he even says at one point in my version, like, I want to establish my roots here. Like, I'm not looking to just be like, just someone who comes by. I want to lay my roots here. I want to be your man. But he does so. His way of establishing roots is to just keep having his father call him. And it's like, I don't even know what's going on with that. But he's like, yes, my number is 05577. Dad, did you sign this? Did you sign the contract? And then they just hang up.
No, I mean, the best part of this movie is all three stories, everyone is just in a state of disarray in some kind of way. And I think the director, who is actually Sophia's husband, did a fantastic job at utilizing everybody's talents, because usually like Sophia and Marcello are really serious actors.
Wait, did she marry De Sica or was it Ponti? I thought it was Carlo Ponti.
No, you're right. I thought
or
it was
both.
I thought
did she get with both?
You're right. She didn't marry him. You're right.
But I do remember her being. I thought I heard she was with Vittorio De Sica at one point.
She might have been, but I know she married, because I think he made Sunflower. Yeah, I'm getting the movies confused. I think the director though saw a lot of use their talents in general, because they're pretty serious actors. Yeah. I don't think Sophia did another like. No, that's not true. She did funny movies, but this was kind of like her really first movie that she was able to utilize a lot of her talents.
Yeah.
So I think that was very impressive that like these two really serious actors, or for the most part, like just intense actors, were able to kind of be like, okay, like we're work husband and wife now, and let's just do it. It was great.
And it's very natural. Like, I think that's why everyone loved them so much, is because they're both very funny people and their chemistry just worked explosively and in a great way, like in terms of on screen and stuff. Like, you would think like it would be like, oh, they had to have been like having a relationship outside of, the and apparently they never did. They never had a romantic relationship. I was surprised to find out that he was with Catherine Deneuve for years.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was just overall like, I think it's a great movie. I think it's honestly one of like, in terms of that era, one of Italy's best comedies, especially because it's like when there's always this argument, right? And you've probably heard it before, just being in the film community, that women aren't funny. And I think of like examples like this where it's like women have always been funny. And especially like if you look at Euro movies from 50s, 60s during like the peak of like creativity of like pioneering comedies and stuff, they were always the forefront of like just great comedies. And this one I think is such a great example how they're both fantastic actors, but like they're both so funny in their own way.
Oh yeah. And I mean like that chemistry stays when they do, because they did Divorce or Marriage Italian Style. I can't remember.
Yes, they did Marriage Italian Style,
and then they did this movie called Sunflower, which I think is some of the best acting they like. You have to see it if you.
And then they also did at the end of their like later on in their careers A Special Day. That was one of their more serious ones, though.
Yes. No, and even Sunflower. It's about she's a woman that was left by her husband in the war who ends up having another family in Russia, and she goes look for him, and it's this fantastic, really like heartbreaking film, and they're amazing in it, but they keep the same level of chemistry they did in this comedy. So
they're just great. And I think I really appreciate the fact that for someone as gorgeous and as brilliant as Sophia Loren, she was never afraid to play the down and dirty characters. Like her knack was playing prostitutes. And she said that I remember seeing her interview with her where she said, like, I grew up in that environment. Those were the women that I knew and stuff. And they were great women and everything. Yeah. So I think that last segment where she's the prostitute, she inadvertently, converts a young priest into wanting to be with her and everything like that. And then you just have Mr. Bolognese.
Mr. Bolognese.
Just running around, just going like, here, I bought you this little outfit. And then like, just
a
like
grown man, just desperate.
Desperation.
Thirsty. The definition of thirsty was this man, Mr. Bouillonist.
And honestly, it has like one of the most iconic like scenes ever, which is the striptease where you have Marcello Mastroianni just sitting
barking
on his bed,
in the background,
barking at her as she's like, you know, doing a full striptease and everything like that. Just such a well done movie overall, but like that scene like there, and just the relationship between her, this young boy, and how like the woman that she hates, she was like, I'm gonna write a letter and I'm gonna do this, and I hate that old woman, she could just die. And then comes in at the door, she's like, no, this woman is so sweet, I have to light a candle, I have to do this, I promised her, I made a vow. It's so good, and it's such a fun movie. If you haven't seen it, if you can get your hands on a copy of it, as well as if you can get your hands on a good Blu-ray player, definitely recommend the watch. Overall, what would you rate it?
Oh, I love this movie. 10.
I
This
think
is
so.
peak Italian comedy.
I think
Italian
so.
comedy at its heart, it's chaos, and this is what this is.
And I
So.
think this is something where the comedy is still lasted. Like I did
Oh,
find
yeah,
myself
it's still
like just
funny.
continually laughing and stuff. And even probably I will show my boyfriend just that last segment because it's just so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it's just such a great movie, and I think that's why I also really love doing Purple Noon, because I love being able to find these older gems of movies that I then can either rediscover or just newly discover and kind of just share it, because I don't know, I just find like the character and the way that they were made and stuff like that just so special. And not to like, I'm not saying like old movies back then were like peak, blah, 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 and you know, all
No,
those things. I'm
yeah.
not trying to dog on today's version of cinema, but I really love being able to watch movies like this and just kind of, even though it's a very simple review, just being able to go, hey, it was great, and it still lives up to, you know, the times and everything.
Yes.
So with that being said, I would probably give it 10 out of 10 too, easily. I have no idea what movie we're going to record next, but we don't have time to look that up
We'll
because the
take
time is
that
ticking.
day by day at this point, won't we?
Yes. As always, thank you so much to our supporters via Patreon. We got Sensei David, Homeboy
Woo!
James, we have Danny Boy, and we also have Ryan. So we still need to come up with a little goofy name for him. But thank you guys so much for supporting us. We're sorry
Thank
for the
you.
inconsistencies and everything, but alas,
Figure it out.
happens. Life happens. But yeah, if you have any movies that you would like to see us talk about, whether it's a new movie, old movie, or things like that, this is definitely, with the quick chats and everything, where we're going to be able to hit those movies and talk about them along the way. Whereas we'll kind of reserve the longer podcast episodes for like the full film dissections and stuff, you know, things like that. But thank you guys so much for listening, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Muppets, bye guys.
Bye.